Austin Ekeler and his air guitar demand a trade. Trevor Bauer takes his talents and his fetishes to Japan. And here's a weird question. Are the Lakers accountable? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is March 14th, 2023. We added another new subscriber to the Angelino Familia yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate you getting in on the ground floor. We're trying to build something here. If you like talking about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. I'm on the road a lot. This is the way I keep my sanity. Feel free. So before we go through the news and the notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. There were no games yesterday involving LA teams, but two today. The Lakers are at New Orleans. That game is at 5 o'clock. The Lakers are 8-4 since the trade deadline. There are 14 games to go in the regular season. They are 11th in the Western Conference, technically tied for 9th, but in reality, they're 11th. Meanwhile, the New York Islanders are in town to play the LA Kings at 7:30. So, we already know the Chargers are cap compliant. They made that move last week. They restructured a lot of contracts. They are $20 million underneath. And when that happens, well, some people want to get paid. Take running back Austin Ekeler, who was frustrated with the way negotiations have been going, so his agent asked permission to seek a trade. Talks of an extension have failed. Now, Ekeler is in the last year of his contract. So this is the time for him to strike. He's like 28 years old. He led the NFL last year with 18 rushing touchdowns. Combined as a rusher and a receiver, he gained more than 1,600 yards. But I'll be honest. I'm amazed he has a job because out of all the running backs in the NFL, he is easily the most nondescript, forgettable running back to ever lead the league in touchdowns, right? You go on YouTube, you go on any social media, and they're like, oh, look at the determination of a Walter Payton when he's hitting the line. Look at the moves of a Barry Sanders. Look at how graceful Eric Dickerson looks. Not with the Chargers. Hell, I know more about the offensive linemen than I do about Austin Ekeler. I know more about Corey Linsley and how valuable he is compared to Austin Ekeler. Ekeler is, you know what Austin Ekeler's highlight film would be? I mean, he's not even like a LaDainian Tomlinson. Austin Ekeler's every touchdown was like 2 yards off tackle, and then he starts playing his air guitar. 2 yards, and you think you're badass. Where does Austin Ekeler rank out of the top running backs of all time? I don't think he even ranks in the top 100. And this guy wants to get paid. He's never made a Pro Bowl. He's never rushed for 1,000 yards. I'm sorry. Austin Ekeler's highlight reel, unlike LaDainian Tomlinson, unlike Eric Dickerson and Barry Sanders, Austin Ekeler's is playing air guitar, which may as well be air ukulele after a 2-yard touchdown run. You never see Austin Ekeler breaking away on like a 90-yard touchdown like a Tony Dorsett. You never see Austin Ekeler out juking somebody out of their shoes. Austin Ekeler is a pedestrian running back. He's lucky he has a job. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not even a Chargers fan, right? I don't hate them, but I'm not a fan. The Chargers are being smart to say, you know what? We can find somebody else to rush for the 2 yards. We're going to take this money and we're going to put it into Justin Herbert. And if that's a Chargers methodology, I fully approve. Absolutely. Austin Ekeler is a cog in a machine. Justin Herbert is the guy who needs the fat check. Simple as that. Other things to know about with the Chargers, the new NFL year technically starts tomorrow. That free agency technically opens. Trades that we've been talking about actually become executed. The Rams, for example, they have to be cap compliant tomorrow, which they're not yet. So the Chargers, who are cap compliant, they've decided to keep backup quarterback Easton Stick. They signed him to a 1-year deal. Okay. They're keeping tight end Donald Parham, too. Fine. They've also decided to try to find a replacement in case they lose out on Drew Tranquill. Linebacker Eric Kendrick, formerly of Minnesota. He went to social media, said he's coming to the Chargers. He's a 31-year-old former All-Pro from UCLA. So they're trying to plug a gap in case they lose out on Tranquill. The Chargers have also asked the NFL to change a rule to basically seed a wild card team higher than a division winner if the division winner has a losing record. You've heard people complain about that in broadcast TV. Oh, why, look over at Tampa Bay. They're like 7-10. How the hell do they get a higher seed than this? That's the solution that the Chargers want. They want it reseeded. But you let me know what you think about Austin Ekeler in the comments thread. You ever have a sense of closure and still a sense of sadness about it, right? I feel that way because we don't have Trevor Bauer to kick around anymore. The former Cy Young Award winner and hobbyist with young women, shall we say, he's heading to Japan on a 1-year deal. Now, he's still going to get the full amount of pay from the Dodgers on top of this new contract with Japan. Had Bauer enticed a major league team to take him on, then the Dodgers would have owed him just a little bit less. But now it's going to be Japan plus the Dodgers $30+ million. All things being equal, when you look at it from that angle, he's probably landing on his feet. Now, as you recall, there was a giant kerfuffle a couple of years ago over a sex crime allegation that never went to trial. It's obviously strange. I'm not going to say what Trevor Bauer did. I wasn't in the room. And all I do know, though, is that Japan is becoming like this very strange landing spot for pitchers who run afoul of Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy. I don't know. I mean, every country has its cultural differences, right? They always talk about the patriarchy in the United States and how we're so dominant over women, like we rule women with an iron fist from Game of Thrones or something like that. And all I know is everybody who's running afoul of domestic violence policies winds up going to Japan. Take a look at former Astros reliever Roberto Osuna, who was also suspended. He pitched in Japan after that went down. The patriarchy. I don't know what Japanese is for the patriarchy, but I'm kind of interested to go to Google Translate after I'm done with this clip. LA optioned 9 players, by the way, to their minor league camp. None of them are particularly surprising. I mean, even when you're looking at Uber prospect Diego Cartaya, he needs more experience. The guy was in Single A for part of last year. So, yeah, the idea that he would go to Single A the year before and now all of a sudden, take over the catching duties for Austin Barnes, yeah, that's not happening. Michael Bush was also on that list. And if you're saying to yourself, is James looking up what the patriarchy is in Japanese, you're absolutely right. Oh, by the way, we talked about Dodgers who have been having good spring trainings. What about the ones who haven't been having good spring trainings? Like, for example, Chris Taylor and JD Martinez not doing a really good time, not having a good time out in Arizona. Now, Dave Roberts said both players have, quote, a lot to their swing. In other words, it's just kind of all herky-jerky with a lot of moving parts. I think that's what it means anyway. Taylor is 3 for 26 with 10 strikeouts. And Martinez is 5 of 29 with 9 strikeouts. Now, what I can tell you is Martinez typically has terrible spring trainings. So there is that. Here's what troubles me about the Lakers 2 times in the last 5 games, Coach Darvin Ham has demanded accountability from his players. Now, Anthony Davis has taken accountability for some stuff. For example, he said he played terrible after the loss to New York on Sunday. But accountability. Considering where the Lakers were and how they're on the periphery of at least the play-in tournament, possibly a playoff spot, isn't that a little bit of an overreaction? Wouldn't you say? Accountability implies that the players are too detached, that they don't care about doing the little things, the details that are required of a professional. I don't think that's a fair thing to demand at this time. I think the Lakers have been scrapping. And by the way, side note, do you think D'Angelo Russell should stay? Because he's rumored to want a 4-year deal for at least $100 million. Now, on the plus side, he's doing exactly what the Lakers wanted, not just from him, but he's doing exactly what they wanted when they acquired Russell Westbrook a couple of years ago. If Russell Westbrook was doing what D'Angelo Russell is doing now, nobody would be complaining. He's a third option. He hits his shots. But then you also have to ask yourself, on the other hand, how much of this is, I want to get that bag of money, so I'm balling right now, but next year I'll go right back to sleep. ESPN analyst Jay Bilas believes UCLA will reach the Sweet 16 before getting eliminated by Gonzaga. Now, I understand the logic. I do. But I think college basketball is a lot more defensive-minded than the NBA. And honestly, I think UCLA is the best defensive team in the tournament. Definitely, they would have been the best defensive team had they not had 2 starters injured. But having said that, even with Jalen Clark out, if Adam Bona comes back, I still believe they're the best defensive team in the NCAA. By the way, I want to correct one thing. When I was talking about UCLA yesterday, I said UNC Asheville center Drew Pember is the big threat. It's true, he is, but not as a post player. He hits 3-pointers, so I'm not so sure that harms UCLA whether or not Adam Bona plays. I mean, you could if he does play, you could put him in the middle of a 2-3 zone, have him grab the rebounds, and watch that other guy chucking up threes from the outside. Bilas also thinks that Michigan State is going to eliminate the Trojans in the first round on Friday, but there is an interesting nugget about the USC game. Michigan State doesn't force turnovers. So does that help Boogie Ellis, who is turnover prone, who does control the ball, who does score at a really tremendous clip? Just saying. Could eliminate a weakness for the Trojans this Friday. We mentioned that the Rams have to become cap compliant by 1 p.m. tomorrow. They've made one decision. They are going to keep outside linebacker Michael Hecht. He contributes as an edge rusher, but don't make a mistake. He's not going to be the replacement for Leonard Floyd. Also, just breaking within the last half an hour, kicker Matt Gay has signed with Indianapolis. He's leaving LA. Matt Gay is going to earn $22 million over 4 years. He is the highest paid free agent kicker ever. Now, these are the decisions that the Rams have made. And honestly, I can appreciate it. Matt Gay is a terrific kicker. Are you really going to risk making him the highest paid free agent kicker in NFL history? Would you? Name a regular player. How many regular players would lose their jobs if the Rams made that decision? LAFC and Bundesliga-powered Bayern Munich will join forces to boost each other's player development programs. It's a 50-50 proposition called Red and Gold Football. The primary goal is to integrate both teams in the global transfer market. Now, what does that mean? I can only guess, but I think I'm right. I'm guessing Bayern Munich wants to mine soccer players out of LA, just use that as a talent pipeline, the way that Julian Araujo went to FC Barcelona from LA Galaxy. And in the meantime, LAFC is going to get intel on under-the-radar European players who aren't good enough to play in the Bundesliga. Bayern used to have a similar thing with FC Dallas back in the day, which does have a reputation for having an elite youth academy. The LA Kings a couple of weeks ago traded for a left-handed defenseman, Vladislav Gavrikov. He's been here for 5 games. He's acquitted himself well. There's just one minor issue. They don't know who to pair him up with on defense yet. Like, you take Drew Doughty in the top pairing, he's always with Mikey Anderson. Always. Right now, Gavrikov has played along both Sean Walker, Matt Roy. You could even argue he might wind up playing alongside Sean Dursey. But right now, the Kings don't know. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread about these developments. Let me know what you think about Austin Ekeler's future with the Chargers. Let me know what you think about Chris Taylor or JD Martinez with the Dodgers in spring. And don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos, because we're talking LA sports and the patriarchy every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quien Corta El Queso production. Take care.